It started with a voice I thought was the wind. I was driving home along the empty road that cuts through the cornfields, same as I had every night for years. The air was still, the kind of silence that presses against your ears. I remember glancing at the moonlight shimmering on the leaves and thinking about Jake, how he vanished here 10 years ago. That's when I saw the figure standing between the rows, pale and motionless, as if waiting for me. My chest tightened. I slowed the car. The headlights caught his face, and time itself seemed to fold. It was Jake. He looked exactly the same. For a long moment, I couldn't move. The steering wheel felt like stone under my hands. Jake's expression was blank, his eyes reflecting the car's beams like glass. I called his name, but he didn't answer. Just tilted his head slightly, like an animal hearing a distant sound. His clothes looked the same as that night he disappeared. The flannel shirt, torn jeans, even the same sneakers. My stomach turned cold. I stepped out, the gravel crunching beneath me, and every sound felt magnified, the hum of the engine, the rustle of the corn, my own heartbeat. I whispered again, and this time he blanked. When he finally spoke, his voice was hollow, like it came from deep underground. He said my name softly, uncertainly, as if tasting the sound. I wanted to run, but my feet wouldn't obey. The air felt charged, humming faintly. I asked him where he'd been. His lips trembled. I don't know, he said. I was with them. His gaze flicked upward, to the stars, and I felt an odd vertigo, like gravity had momentarily loosened. Then he looked back at me, eyes wide, whispering, "They said I wasn't supposed to come back." We sat in the car for a while. He shivered, even though the air was warm. I noticed strange patterns on his skin, like faint geometric shadows that moved when I looked directly at them. I rubbed my eyes, but they were still there. Jake stared at the dashboard, murmuring words I didn't recognize. The language sounded rhythmic, mechanical, like metal grinding softly. When I asked him what it meant, he just said, "They told me to remember the song of light." I didn't understand, but the words clung to the air like static. He refused to go to the hospital, said they'd find him. His pupils were dilated, swallowing his irises entirely. I drove him back to my house instead. On the way, he kept asking what year it was, who was president, and whether his parents were still alive. Each question was followed by silence, and then a faint smile, as though he already knew the answers. When we arrived, he touched the porch light and flinched. "Too bright," he said, stepping back into the shadows. The light flickered once and went out. That night, I couldn't sleep. From the guest room, I heard soft humming, like a distant radio between stations. When I checked, Jake was sitting upright on the bed, eyes closed, the faint blue glow of moonlight pulsing across his skin. The air smelled of ozone, sharp and metallic. I whispered his name, and his voice came back layered, overlapping itself, multiple tones speaking in unison. "They're listening," he said. I asked who, but he didn't respond. The glow on his skin slowly faded, leaving only darkness and the echo of my own breathing. In the morning, he was gone. The bedsheet was still warm, but the window was open.
curtain swaying gently. I followed faint footprints in the dew out into the field. The corn parted ahead of me as if something moved just beyond sight. I called his name again, over and over, but the sound died quickly in the air. The field was endless, the horizon hazy. Then I saw it. A perfect circle. Flattened into the stalks, the center charred slightly, the soil smooth as glass. I stepped into it, and the world fell silent.
Inside the circle, sound behaved strangely, like the air itself was dampening my thoughts. The light felt thicker, tinted silver. I noticed tiny motes drifting upward, glowing faintly, disappearing before they reached my hand. The soil vibrated beneath my shoes, steady as a heartbeat. Then came a low hum, rising slowly in pitch, filling my chest with warmth and dread at once. I closed my eyes. For a second, I saw shapes, vast, translucent structures, suspended in endless night. They were beautiful. They were watching.
When I opened my eyes, I was standing at the edge of the highway. My car was there, engine cold, keys still in the ignition. The sun was setting again, though I could have sworn it had just risen. My watch was frozen at 3:14. I checked my phone. 10 missed calls, all from my sister. As I drove home, I caught my reflection in the rearview mirror. My skin shimmered faintly, the same moving patterns I'd seen on Jake. I pressed my palm against my face. The pattern pulsed once, like something beneath the surface answering back. That night I returned to the cornfield. I had to. The circle was gone, every trace erased. Only the silence remained, heavy and deliberate. I stood there for what felt like hours, waiting for a sound, a sign, anything. Then I heard it again. The same voice from the night Jake reappeared, whispering my name through the wind. The air shimmered, folding slightly, like heat over asphalt. I felt weightless, suspended between moments. And as the light flickered behind my eyelids, I understood. Jake hadn't been taken. He had come back to lead me home.